Some of the most profound guidance you'll ever receive comes from voices that have been silent for centuries. And today, we're going to unlock their secrets. The most enduring lessons aren't just taught, they're woven into narratives that stick with us forever. That's the power of a great story. My name is Leo, and on this channel, Winds of Thought, we explore the ideas that have shaped human history. We're going to dive into a collection of powerful, time-tested stories that have resonated with millions. These aren't just old tales, they are blueprints for living with purpose and resilience. Let's begin with a Roman emperor facing unimaginable crisis. His realm is being consumed by a devastating plague. The treasury is empty, and the future of his entire empire hangs in the balance. So what does the leader do? He doesn't tax the people. He doesn't look the other way. He announces a grand auction, but not of common goods. He sells the gold and silk from his own palace. His family parts with their personal jewels and fine furniture. This was a stunning act of symbolic leadership. He demonstrated that a true guide faces hardship at the front of the line. This philosophy isn't just for quiet contemplation, it's a call to action when everything is on the line. He was a leader who used wisdom as his compass. Then there's the tale of a legendary inventor. Late one night, he's informed that his primary factory, containing his life's work, is engulfed in flames. He arrives to see an inferno, a total loss. He finds his son, standing frozen in horror. Instead of despair, he puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "Go find your mother. Tell her to bring her friends. They will never witness a blaze this magnificent again." In that moment of total ruin, he chose a perspective of awe. The Stoics called this amor fati, a love of one's destiny. It's the practice of not just enduring what happens, but embracing it. He later told a journalist that such events shake a man from his slumber. He secured funding, rebuilt everything, and was operating again in a matter of weeks. The lesson? Catastrophe can shatter you, or you can choose to see its strange, terrible beauty and rebuild stronger than before. Consider a young seeker, centuries ago, who asks a divine source how to find wisdom. The answer is cryptic: you will find it when you learn to speak with those who are no longer living. Years later, he's in a shop and hears a merchant reading from a text by a long-dead thinker. The realization strikes him: reading is conversing with the departed. We are engaging in that very dialogue right now. The great conversation spans generations, connecting us to minds that have been gone for millennia. True wisdom begins when we listen to the echoes of the past. During a tense period in the 20th century, a world leader is woken with terrifying news: a rival power has positioned nuclear weapons a short distance from his shores. The world is suddenly at the brink of annihilation. Nearly every single one of his military advisors urges an immediate, overwhelming attack. They see it as the only logical response to a direct challenge. But the leader pauses. He exercises immense discipline and asks a simple, chilling question: and what will they do after we've launched our missiles? He understood that true strength often lies in de-escalation. Over 13 agonizing days, he was firm in his position but constantly looked for a way to let his adversary save face. He secretly arranged for the removal of some of his own outdated missiles as a trade. This is the art of the Golden Bridge, building a path for your opponent to retreat with dignity. He didn't just win a confrontation, he saved the world from nuclear fire by choosing strategic patience over brute force. There's a profound story about a man born into servitude. He lives in the palace of a notoriously decadent and cruel ruler. He has no physical freedom, yet he observes the so-called free men around him. He watches a senator flatter the emperor's shoemaker to gain favor. He hears a wealthy man complain about being down to his last fortune. And he has a stunning revelation: these men, with all their power and wealth, are prisoners of their own desires. They are enslaved by greed, by the need for status, by their own insecurities. He realizes that while his body is in chains, his mind can remain utterly free. No one can take away your ability to choose your response, to set your own values. This is the core of a resilient inner life, a philosophy embraced by both the enslaved and the emperor who would later rule that same empire. How do you approach a situation where you feel powerless? An actor, after years of struggling to land roles, has a paradigm shift. He stops walking into auditions thinking, "Please give me a chance," and starts thinking, "I am the answer to your problem." This flip in perception changes everything. We color our experiences with our own assumptions. Do we enter a room from a place of lack, or from a place of strength and capability? You control the energy and attitude you bring, and that alone can determine your success. There's a famous anecdote about two celebrated authors. One teasingly says to the other, "Does it bother you that our host, a billionaire, earned more this week than your famous novel ever will?" The other author smiles and replies, "Perhaps, but I possess one thing he never will." What's that? The knowledge of what is enough. This isn't about rejecting ambition. It's about acting from a place of inner fulfillment, not from a void of need. It's the difference between creating to prove your worth and creating because the work itself brings you joy. Another leader, during a turbulent campaign for the highest office, is given a book on ancient Greek ideals. It moves him deeply. Soon after, a tragic event occurs: a prominent civil rights leader is assassinated. This politician must address a crowd that is just learning the news, a crowd on the verge of erupting into violence. Standing before them, he quotes from memory an ancient Greek poet about how suffering brings wisdom. The words, absorbed from that book, calm the crowd. While other cities erupt in chaos, his city remains peaceful. In a moment of modern crisis, ancient wisdom provided the anchor. The Roman emperor's reign was defined by a pandemic. He watched as millions perished, and he likely succumbed to it himself. From this, he drew a crucial distinction. He wrote that there are two kinds of sickness, one that attacks the body, and another, far more dangerous, that corrupts your character. We've all seen how a crisis can bring out either the best or worst in people. Some catch the disease of fear, of selfishness, of conspiracy. His leadership was defined by listening to experts and remembering, moment by moment, the fragility of life. On his deathbed, his final words were not of self-pity, but a reminder to his grieving friends of the countless others who had been lost, and that death comes for everyone. A Holocaust survivor shared a harrowing story from her youth. At 16, within hours of being taken to a camp, her parents were killed. A guard ordered her to dance. And as she danced, she was not in that camp. In her mind, she was on the stage of a grand opera house, wearing a beautiful gown, with an applauding audience. She later said her mother's last words were that no one could ever steal what you place inside your own mind. She explained that the most formidable prison is the one you build in your thoughts. She saw the guards as the true captives, for they lacked her inner freedom. A Stoic philosopher once had a valuable lamp stolen from his home. He watched the thief run off with it and simply thought, "Tomorrow, I will replace it with a simple clay one." His reaction was not anger, but a realization that the loss was his fault for owning something that made him a target. By choosing simpler possessions, he made himself less vulnerable to misfortune. It's a lesson in cultivating detachment from material things. Another philosopher was asked by a friend if he should attend a lavish party thrown by a corrupt and wicked ruler. The friend wrestled with the moral dilemma. The Stoic's reply was swift: "You should go." The friend, surprised, asked, "Well, are you going?" The Stoic said, "No. I wouldn't even consider it." He believed that a clear no is stronger than a hesitant yes. The point was that his own values were so firmly set that the question never entered his mind. He didn't need to deliberate, his boundaries were non-negotiable. A famous general, after a distinguished start, fell on hard times. He was found by an old army comrade, not on a battlefield, but selling firewood on a roadside. His friend, shocked, exclaimed, "What in heaven's name are you doing here?" The general looked up calmly and said, "I am solving my family's problem of hunger." He held no shame in doing honest work to provide. This humility and resilience would later prepare him to return and lead his nation through its greatest trial. He understood that your circumstances don't define your character, your response to them does. These stories are more than history. They are tools for your life. If this conversation resonated with you, please do us a great favor and like this video. It truly helps Winds of Thought share these ideas with more people. Thank you for spending your time here.